Babies don't belong in boardrooms, my father declared, sliding the termination papers across his mahogany desk. Morrison Logistics needs leaders who can commit fully, not mothers distracted by diapers and daycare. I stared at the man who'd raised me, who'd taught me everything about business, who'd groomed me to take over the family company since I was 12. I'm 3 months pregnant, Dad, not dying. Same difference in this industry, my brother Connor added from his corner chair, smirking. Can't have our VP of operations waddling into client meetings, leaving early for prenatal appointments. It's unprofessional. Unprofessional? I laughed, but there was no humor in it. I brought in 60% of our revenue. I landed the Yamamoto account, the Chen Group, which is why we're offering a generous severance. My stepmother Diane interrupted, perfectly manicured nails tapping on her iPad. 6 months salary, continued health insurance through delivery. It's more than fair. Fair would be maternity leave, like every other company in the developed world offers. We're not every other company, Dad said firmly. We're Morrison Logistics. We've maintained our edge by demanding absolute dedication. You chose pregnancy over your career. That's your right. This is mine. I looked around the boardroom where I'd spent countless hours, at the growth charts I'd personally pushed into record territory, at the family photos on the wall that would soon exclude me. The Rothwell contract, I said quietly, that's my baby. I negotiated every detail, every route, every percentage point. You're really going to hand my largest account to Connor? Connor straightened his tie, the same tie I'd bought him for Christmas. I'll take excellent care of it. All your accounts. Actually, don't worry, I'll send flowers when the baby arrives. How thoughtful. I signed the papers with steady hands, though inside I was raging. And the non-compete clause? Standard, Diane said. 2 years. Can't have you running to competitors with our client list. Of course not. I stood, placing a protective hand over my still flat stomach. Well, gentlemen, Diane, it's been educational. Emma, Dad's voice softened slightly. This isn't personal, it's business. No, Dad, firing your daughter for getting pregnant? That's about as personal as it gets. I walked out of Morrison Logistics for the last time. 20 years of dedication boxed up and waiting by my car. Security watched me load it like I was a criminal, not the woman who'd transformed this company from regional to international. That night, my husband Marcus held me while I cried angry tears. They can't do this, he said. It's discrimination. We'll sue. No, I wiped my eyes. Lawsuits take years. Revenge takes planning. Revenge? I pulled out my phone and scrolled through my contacts. Morrison Logistics just fired their VP of operations. They think Connor can handle my accounts. Let's see if my accounts agree. The first call was to Kenji Yamamoto in Tokyo. It was early morning there, but he answered immediately. Emma-san, I hope you're calling with good news about the expansion proposal. Actually, Kenji, I'm calling with different news. Morrison Logistics terminated me today. Silence. Then, terminated? But you are Morrison Logistics. Your father decided babies don't belong in boardrooms. They'll be assigning Connor to your account. Connor? His tone could have frozen hell. The one who fell asleep during our quarterly review? Who called Osaka basically Tokyo? That's him. I see. And where will you be working now? I'm exploring options. The non-compete prevents me from working for competitors, but not from starting your own company. Kenji's voice warmed. Emma-san, Yamamoto Industries values loyalty. More importantly, we value competence. If you start your own firm, we would be interested in discussing transitioning our business. My heart raced. Kenji, that's a $50 million annual contract. Yes, and worth every yen when handled by someone who understands our needs. Someone who doesn't think Osaka is basically Tokyo. I'll need some time to establish. Take your time. Our contract with Morrison renews in 90 days. What a convenient coincidence. After we hung up, I sat in stunned silence. Marcus watched me carefully. Yamamoto's willing to jump ship. That's our biggest account. Your biggest account, he corrected. Morrison Logistics just lost it. They just don't know it yet. The next morning, I filed the paperwork for Chen Logistics International. The non-compete banned me from working for competitors, not from competing directly. Dad's lawyers had been so worried about me taking insider knowledge to other firms, they'd never considered I'd start my own. While my former family celebrated my departure with what Connor called a freedom from estrogen party, classy, I was building business license, insurance, certifications, everything needed to operate in international logistics. My phone rang. Lisa Chen from the Chen Group. Emma, I just heard from Connor Morrison that you're no longer with the company? That's correct. They felt pregnancy was incompatible with executive performance. What? Lisa's voice went deadly quiet. They fired you for being pregnant? Babies don't belong in boardrooms, apparently. I see. Well, boardrooms belong wherever competent leaders are. When you're ready to talk business, your business, the Chin Group would like to discuss our logistics needs. All $40 million worth. 2 calls. 2 major clients ready to follow me. 90 million in potential contracts. And I hadn't even registered my business name yet. Connor texted that afternoon. Hope you're enjoying mat leave already. Don't worry, your clients are in good hands. Had a great call with Yamamoto. Didn't even need a translator. I screenshot the message. Kenji would love that. He spoke perfect English and only used Japanese to test if Morrison reps had bothered learning basics. Connor had just failed spectacularly. By week 2, Chin Logistics International had an office, small but professional. I hired 2 employees, fired Morrison Logistics workers who'd been let go for budget constraints despite record profits. They brought knowledge, anger, and most importantly, client contacts. You know, Sarah, my new operations manager, mentioned casually, the Hoffman Group's contract is up for renewal next month. They were always asking for you specifically. The Hoffman Group, 15 million annually, conservative Germans who valued precision and relationships above all. I couldn't possibly poach for Morrison, I said with mock innocence. That would be unethical. Of course not, Sarah agreed, but if they happened to Google logistics companies and found yours. My website went live that afternoon, professional, clean, emphasizing personal service and attention to detail, everything Morrison had stopped providing when they got too big to care. Week 3 brought the call I'd been expecting. Dad. Emma, what the hell are you doing? Building a nursery, nesting, I think they call it. Very maternal. Don't be cute. Yamamoto's asking about contract renewals. Says they want to explore options. That's your doing. Dad, you made it clear I don't work for Morrison anymore. What clients do isn't my concern. The hell it isn't. You signed a non-compete. Which prevents me from working for competitors. I'm not working for anyone. I'm working for myself. That's not what it meant. Then you should have hired better lawyers. Ones who don't think pregnancy is a fireable offense. It wasn't about pregnancy, it was about commitment. My commitment built 60% of your revenue, but sure, tell yourself it was about dedication. He hung up. 20 minutes later, Diane called. Emma, sweetness, let's discuss this rationally. Hormones can make us do impulsive things. I hung up and blocked her number. Week 4 brought Connor to my door. My assistant, yes, I already had an assistant, didn't let him past reception. Tell her it's urgent. I heard him shouting. Yamamoto's threatening to cancel. I waddled out, yes, waddled. Amazing how pregnancy advances when you're stress building a company. Connor, what a surprise. Cut the crap. Emma, you're stealing our clients. I'm sitting in my office, growing a human. If clients choose to call me, that's their choice. Yamamoto says you're offering better rates. I'm not offering anything, but hypothetically, a smaller company would have lower overhead, no executive golf memberships, no corporate jets, no freedom from estrogen parties that cost 20 grand in champagne. His face went red. You heard about that? Sarah has photos. Open bar leads to loose lips. This is war. Emma, we'll bury you. With what? The client relationships I built? The systems I designed? The reputation I created? Good luck, little brother. You'll need it. He stormed out. That afternoon, 3 more clients called. Word was spreading. Month 2 brought the Chin Group's signature. 40 million moved from Morrison to Chin Logistics. My father called 18 times. I was in a prenatal appointment for all of them. The Hoffman Group followed, then Yamamoto, as promised. By month 3, I was handling $120 million in annual contracts with a staff of 12. Morrison Logistics' quarterly report was brutal. Stock dropped 30%. They'd lost half their international revenue in 90 days. How? The business journals asked. How does an established company hemorrhage clients so quickly? The answer was simple. They'd fired the person who was the company. My favorite moment came during month 4. I was meeting with a potential client, massive automotive parts manufacturer, when Connor burst into the restaurant. You can't do this. He looked haggard. Tai Askew, Rodriguez Automotive is our client. Was, Mr. Rodriguez corrected coldly, was your client, until you missed 3 shipments and blamed typhoon season. In January. That was a miscommunication. That was incompetence. Rodriguez cut him off. Emma warned us about weather patterns 6 months in advance. You couldn't even check a calendar. Security removed Connor while he screamed about lawsuits and family loyalty. Rodriguez signed with me over dessert. Month 5 brought my favorite visitor, Dad, standing in my now expanded office, looking at my wall of client certifications. You did this to hurt me, he said quietly. I did this because you left me no choice. I shifted in my ergonomic chair, 8 months pregnant and still working. From my own company, you fired me for getting pregnant. I fired you for losing focus. My focus built your empire. My focus landed every major account you had. He repeated the word like ash in his mouth. We're facing bankruptcy, Emma, your mother's company. Diane isn't my mother, and it stopped being a family company the day you chose misogyny over merit. What will it take to get the clients back? I laughed, actually laughed. They're not mine to give, Dad. They chose to follow competence, not chromosomes. Maybe Connor can win them back. How's his Japanese? You know he doesn't speak. He stopped, shoulders sagging. This is what you wanted, to destroy us. No, I wanted maternity leave. I wanted to raise my daughter while continuing to excel at my job. You decided that was impossible, so I made it possible on my own terms. Your daughter? His voice cracked slightly. Due next month. I'm naming her Morgan, after Mom, the one who would have been ashamed of what you became. He left without another word. Morrison Logistics filed for bankruptcy 2 weeks later. The best part? My water broke during a video conference with Yamamoto. Kenji-san was delighted, insisting it was good luck. We finished the contract negotiation between contractions. My daughter was born 12 hours later. Chin Logistics sent out birth announcements with our quarterly reports. Every client sent gifts and congratulations. Connor texted, "Hope you're happy, Dad's selling the house." I responded with a photo of Morgan in a onesie that read "Future CEO" and my company's latest valuation, $150 million in annual contracts. Babies don't belong in boardrooms, I captioned it, so I built my own. Diane tried one last manipulation, showing up at my house with a gift basket. Surely now that you've made your point, we can discuss a merger. Morrison Logistics infrastructure with your client base. Morrison Logistics doesn't exist anymore, I reminded her, and Chin Logistics doesn't merge with failed philosophies. Your father made a mistake. No, he made a choice, chose to see pregnancy as weakness instead of strength, chose to value chromosomes over competence, chose Connor's ego over Emma's achievements. Family forgives, she tried. Family supports, I countered. You fired family, I just returned the favor. Morgan started crying, hungry, not upset. I fed her right there, in front of Diane, who looked scandalized. Babies don't belong in boardrooms, I said, burping my daughter. Good thing this is my living room, in my house, bought with my company's profits. She left the gift basket. I donated it to a shelter for pregnant women fired from their jobs. Seemed appropriate. Today, Chin Logistics International handles $200 million in annual contracts. We have 40 employees, comprehensive maternity and paternity leave, and an on-site nursery. The best employee? Connor, who applied last month. I hired him, entry level. He reports to Sarah, who takes great pleasure in teaching him basics like Osaka isn't basically Tokyo. He's learning humility, and Japanese. Dad wrote once, asking if I'd consider buying Morrison's old office building. It was being sold for taxes. I bought it, turned it into affordable housing for single mothers. The sign out front reads, "The Morrison Center for Working Mothers," because babies belong wherever their mothers succeed. Petty? Maybe, but when you're fired for being pregnant, you earn the right to be a little petty, especially when that pettiness comes with a $200 million valuation and a daughter who'll never be told she doesn't belong somewhere because of her gender. Babies don't belong in boardrooms? Fine, we'll build better boardrooms, with lactation rooms, flexible schedules, and executives who understand that creating life and creating profit aren't mutually exclusive. Morrison Logistics learned that lesson too late. Chin Logistics International teaches it every day. Class is in session. My office. Bring your babies.